Hi folks, in this video we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions together that have different denominators. For example, let's say if we've got 3/4 and we want to add, let's say, 2/9 onto that. Well, that's really weird because 3/4 and 2/9, they aren't kind of multiples of each other. They don't really add together very nicely. When you think of a quarter plus a half, you can kind of make sense of that and turn it into 3/4. But when you have completely different fractions like this, we need another method, and that method is kind of a stepping stone that gets us towards the answer, and it's called finding common denominators. So that's the strategy that we need to use in this. It's to find common denominators. Now, to do that, we need to multiply the top and the bottom number of each fraction individually by something to change it into another fraction. It'll be the same amount, but it'll make it look different. And the idea is we want these to look like they both have the same denominator, basically. So 3/4, we're going to times the top and the bottom of 3/4 by a number, and we're going to do the same thing to the 2 and the 9. We're going to times those by a different number to 3/4, but the same number as each other. And then the result will be two new fractions where the bottom number is both the same. The easiest way to do that is to multiply the 4 by something that will be a multiple of 9. So we could times the 4, we could just times the 4 by 9, and that will give us a number that 9 goes into. So 4 9s are 36. So we want to times the 4 by 9 to make it into a 36, because we can times the 9 by a 4, and that will make it a 36 as well. And there's your common denominators. So the easy way of doing this is to times the top and the bottom number of each fraction by the denominator of the other fraction. So we're going to times the top and the bottom number of this fraction by that 9 over there. So 9 times 3, 9 times 4. And then the top and the bottom number of this fraction, we're going to times these by the denominator of the other fraction, the 4. So 2 times 4, 9 times 4. Okay, that's the complicated bit. After that, it's really easy. So 9 3s are 27, 9 4s are 36. So that means that 3/4 is exactly the same as 27 36ths. 2 times 4 is 8. 9 times 4 is 36. And at this point, we can tell we've got common denominators. They're both 36. And we were adding them together, so we'll keep that plus sign in the middle there. Alright, now you might remember, if you've seen the first video, to add fractions together when we've got the same common denominators, all we need to do is add the top numbers together. The bottom number doesn't change, so the bottom number of the answer is still going to be 36. Alright, so now all we need to do is 27 plus 8, which is 35. So that means that 3/4 plus 2/9 is 35 36ths, which, as it happens, doesn't simplify. Sometimes we might want to simplify the final answer. We'll do a couple more examples, because that finding the common denominator step is quite complicated. So let's try trickier numbers. Let's say 3/7 plus 5/12. Alright, actually, let's subtract. Let's say 3/7. Let's say 5/12 minus 3/7. Let's try that. Alright, so it's the exact same first step. So we multiply the top and the bottom of each fraction by the denominator of the other fraction. So that means these two numbers, the 5 and the 12, are going to get times by 7. So let's put a little times 7 there, and a little times 7 there. And the 3 and the 7, they're going to get times by the denominator of the other fraction. So 3 is going to get times by 12, and the 7 is going to get times by 12. So let's put a little times 12 there and a little times 12 there. And then we just need to work these out and rewrite it. So 7 5's 35, 7 12's 84, minus, and then 3 12's are 36. I should have kept them the other way around. And 7 12's are also 84. Alright, so we've got common denominators. Now we can subtract them. So 35 take away 36 gives us a -1. So it's -1 over the bottom number stays the same, which is 84. And that's it. We'll do one more example where we don't get a negative number. So let's say we've got 8/9, and we're going to subtract 11/20. Let's say 11/20. Alright, so we need to multiply the top and the bottom number by the bottom number of the other fraction, so 20. and multiply the top and the bottom number here by the bottom of the other fraction, which is 9. Alright, so 20 times 8, that is just 2 8s with a 0. 20 times 9 is just 2 9s with a 0. And 11 times 9 is 99. And 20 times 9, as we've got over here, is 180. And then we can work this out. We've got common denominators, 180 on both sides. Alright, so 160, take away 99. Well, we can take away 100 and add 1 back on, so that would be 61 over 180. And that's it. Alright, now that doesn't simplify. If we do all our checks and everything, we'll find that 61 180ths doesn't actually simplify. So that would be the final answer. So if you're ever walking down the street wondering what's 8 9ths minus 11 20ths, well, now you know the answer is 61 180ths.